machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
We are live. Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Noble from Token Metrics. Welcome to the Thursday live stream. I am joined by my colleagues, my esteemed colleagues, Forrest and Mehdi. Gentlemen, what's happening?
Hey, Bill. How's it going?
I'm doing all right.
Hi, everyone.
All right. So we have BTC Motivation, Deep Crypto, hitting this stream first. We thank you for coming on today on Thursday. This live stream is brought to you by, drumroll, tokenmetrics.com and Token Metrics TV. So Fearless Jones, Ricardo, Collins, Wax, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, we're going to do the market update. So if you like the market update or you like the analysis that, my esteemed colleagues will present, we would ask that you hit the like button hard. We also want you to hit the subscribe button so you can get our notifications and that notification button. So in case we do any pop-up live streams with increased volatility. All right. Morning Rise Crypto Consulting, the first like. Thank you. All right. Now, without further ado, let's try not only a market update, but let's try a controversial market update. Can you guys see my screen? Forrest, guys?
We can see it.
All right, got it. Okay. Controversial. ETH and the Metaverse only. Is it like a one trade market? Let's take a look. Let's start out with SHIB. Now, SHIB's coming off. Not really a surprise. What does SHIB represent? Well, SHIB has become the ultimate fear of missing out trade. It was Bitcoin in 2017, where everybody watched this thing that no one really understood or liked, Bitcoin, go from 5K to 20K in like 2 months. And people missed out, and it was on the front page of the New York Times. Ha ha, everyone's getting rich but you. And then it dumped for 2 years. Then, the story gets around that somebody put $8,000 in SHIB and made $5 billion. Now, what that's done is that has triggered everyone running around like chickens with their head cut off, trying to find something that trades for a penny, trying to find the next thing that's trading at zero that's going to make them a billionaire. Now, we're all about value investing. We're all about altcoins, but we're also all about helping you be smart or, at a minimum, not be stupid. So if you're chasing green candles or if you're buying stuff that you don't know what it is just because it's trading at zero or a fraction of a penny, we would ask that you think about what you are doing. Now, on the subject of what's going on in this market, I am closely watching on TradingView Total 3. That is total altcoin market cap or total market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So yesterday, ETH was doing good. Solana, DOT, all doing price discovery, new highs. Yet, total altcoin market cap cannot hold up above $1 trillion. Now, I'm going to ask a ridiculous question. We know ETH is good. We know DOT is good, or at least we suspect so. We know Solana and AVAX have value propositions. But what about all the rest of the altcoins? Like, what about everything outside the top 200 or the top 100? or the top 50. Do they have a value proposition? Probably. Will they get hammered in a correction? Most likely, yes, bordering on definitely. So one of the themes that we gave our premium customers yesterday is when you look at altcoins, you have to ask yourself, okay, I'm either hodling this or I'm getting involved for the first time because today's my first day in crypto. What am I going to own that's going to survive a correction? Now, nothing survives a bear market. Don't kid yourself. But if there's a correction that might last between 1 and 10 days, will this thing that I own come back? Now, based on the fact that total altcoin market cap is having trouble at $1 trillion, I strongly suggest that you ask yourself these questions about everything that you own. Because if the market goes up, it may be Bitcoin, ETH, DOT, and Solana. But if the market goes down, yeah, those other coins may correct 5 or 10%. But what's going to happen to the rest of the alt universe? Is it going to get totally hammered? Do you want to deal with that heading into the US holiday season? I don't. So yesterday's presentation to the private group was about like the new smart, right? It's like check yourself or the new happy. Now, let's just do a reminder about sentiment. Just a reminder. Every time you mix legacy and Bitcoin, bad stuff happens, right? You know, CME Bitcoin futures came out in 2018 at the top. Miners used the contract to hedge and sell everything in a very liquid market. And that started a price crash that was exacerbated by higher interest rates. Then came the Coinbase IPO and the GBTC unlock from the equity market, where basically a whole bunch of Bitcoin was either sold to buy Coinbase or, you know, other things that happened in the market as Bitcoin and legacy interlocked and interacted. That led to Bitcoin getting hammered. Now we have the BTC futures ETF. Now, is that going to result in Bitcoin getting hammered? Probably not. But could it result in Bitcoin just sitting around, doing nothing, going down 5%, printing 54K, annoying everybody? Yeah, maybe. Because I don't really understand why everyone's buying SHIB and Bitcoin can't get through 65K. I mean, the Fed came out yesterday and basically said, we're going to be irresponsible and not talk tough on inflation. So equities rallied, but ironically, the dollar went up because I think the financial system is like, I don't know if that was the right trade. That scares me. And when I'm scared, I buy the dollar. So the dollar went up, not that much, but what's up with Bitcoin? Like, why isn't it smoking to the upside? I just saw a report from a major crypto exchange that said up, and away. Well, I certainly hope that if you're watching this presentation 4 days from now, Bitcoin's at, 75K. Crypto Twitter is talking about a 10K upday candle, like 10K in 1 day, giant green candle coming soon. Okay, cool. I work at a crypto company. I would love to see that. But show me the money. Where is it? It's not happening. The Fed gave you a reason to do it, and it's not happening. So what's up with that? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's going to happen before the live stream's over, and I'm going to look like an ass for questioning it. But I do think we are at the point in the crypto market where you need to be asking yourself, what's moving? Why is it moving? What do I own? Why do I own it? What am I going to do if it goes down? And what am I going to do if it goes up? Because the flip side to what I'm saying about Bitcoin, if we go to the next chart, is this is Bitcoin futures stalling at a major Gann line and resistance at 64K. So you also have to ask yourself, all right, So I want to make sure I don't get hosed, but I also want to make sure that I'm involved if it goes parabolic. In other words, if the crypto exchange is right, the crypto Twitter's right, this is going to 75K all in one day. I want to have positions that I'm not going to get killed in, or I want to try to buy a dip so that if it does go crazy on the upside, I participate, I'm involved. So I'm taking risk, but I'm doing so wisely. Let me say that again, wisely, because I sense SHIB has given everybody a lobotomy, which means that the overall crypto IQ out there has dropped because everybody missed SHIB. So don't let that screw up your Bitcoin and Ethereum trading. Now, with that lecture out of the way, there really isn't a whole lot of resistance in ETH, I don't think, until 5,900. So based on what's going on with the supply of ETH, based on the fact that there's more than likely going to be another wave in NFTs when Coinbase launches its NFT product, there is clearly a bullish narrative for ETH. There's also a narrative for ETH to outperform Bitcoin. Now, one thing you just have to keep in mind, a rally in ETH makes sense. It makes so much sense, it's taking a while to get going, because a lot of times when everybody expects the same thing for good reason, it can be really annoying sitting around waiting for it to happen, because the only way to get people out is through boredom. So I don't recommend getting bored out of a trade in ETH. Dips are probably to be bought even if they're nasty. And I would also raise the possibility that if there is a down move, it may be Bitcoin that gets hammered and ETH holds up. It's maybe not totally likely, but clearly possible, because ETH is way overdue to outperform Bitcoin. Now, Solana. I got asked today a legit question. What's the 3 to 5 year outlook on Solana? And I'm like, that's a good question, because my primary concern right now is to figure out the 3 to 5 hour, 3 to 5 day outlook in Solana. Now, Solana is a momentum coin. Our AI likes it. I'm definitely not fading our AI if it's in momentum mode. So supports at 236. And the short version of the story is Solana can go to 280. Now, the longer story, or the big picture, or maybe it's just a really quick story, is that I think you have to trade this level by level, right? In other words, if Solana doesn't dip when the market dips and then starts rallying again, it could smoke to 280. So I'm not going to get in the way of this, right? Because this is probably an integral part of the future of crypto. Solana is going to become, money the way Ethereum and Bitcoin did. The question is, what are you paying for it, and when are you buying it? If you came into crypto today and you have to buy Solana on a dip, okay, maybe you use 201 as a stop to make sure that you don't get washed out, or maybe you just wait. My colleague Forrest often says that he'll just let something run, right? If something's at 236, he'll let it run to 280, but he only wants to buy it when it comes back to 236, just as an example. So there are multiple strategies, and you don't have to think about every one of them, but I do think you need to have one. What happens if it goes up, and how do I participate in something that I won't get destroyed in if it goes down? Or if it goes down, what am I going to buy on the dip? Or if it goes up, what momentum trade am I just going to go with? Oh my God, is this an error? Is this Facebook, the evil empire, on the market update for crypto? Yes, it is. Now, why is it? Well, Facebook got hammered from 380 to 300, and it looks like the equity market has left it for dead, most likely thinking his move to the metaverse is laughable. Well, the equity market's kind of funny. The equity market is filled with wealthy people who have been able to use the nonstop parabolic move in stocks to borrow money so the rich can get richer. So it may not have occurred to the equity market that the metaverse is somewhere where you can go and not have to worry about the fact that a gallon of milk is headed for $12, or that a 60-year-old person on Social Security just got declined for food stamps and is crying, right? Inside the metaverse, you can achieve play to earn, a new level of happiness. And yeah, you know, everybody says that Zuckerberg is creating dystopia. It's really easy to demonize the guy. I'm in favor of a decentralized metaverse, but here's the point. The metaverse is the big trade. It's the internet, okay? It's a BTFD play. And how do you know that? Or how do I suspect that? I don't know anything. I'm a technical analyst. I work on probabilities. But what do I suspect? I suspect the fact that everybody in equities is ignoring this confirms the fact it's a huge trade. Because if it's going to be a huge trade, everyone ignores it. Everyone. Because how does it become a big trade? When everybody has an oh moment, it goes, oh my God, I have to get involved. That's how things really go up. And so far, that's not happening in Facebook. So Facebook, like Galaxy Digital, is going to become like a regular in the market update as to like what's going on in crypto. Okay, Decentraland. So you're like, okay, Bill, that's nice. That's nice. But, you know, Decentraland just went from 60 cents to $5. It didn't really trade for a long time. It just sat there. Then it exploded. And you just told me not to chase stuff. Exactly. So what are we going to do? Well, my suggestion is not investment advice, but do what they do in equities, which is sit around and say, oh, thank God it dipped. I was talking to my brother yesterday with 5 kids about sending his kid to University of Miami. You know, Google the tuition at that school when you get a moment. You know, my brother loved every single dip in the stock market. He was like, oh my God, let me just put more money in. Let me put more money into the college plan so, you know, I can invest more. Let me get more aggressive. He just loved every dip. Well, I think in the metaverse, you got to start loving every dip. Like right now, Decentraland has retraced 50% of its recent move down to 277. If it got down to 226, I don't see any reason not to look at these coins when they're retracing. You might get lucky and it goes to $2. I don't know. What I'm suggesting is that this metaverse trade may have 5 waves, right? A first wave, a second wave that's annoying, a third wave that's annoying because it just keeps going up and up and no one can get in, a 4 wave that's annoying because the consolidation is so big it makes you seasick, and then a 5 wave, which is probably when equities figure out that the metaverse is something where the common man or woman can go, work with others, get away from COVID, play to earn, make money, enjoy yourself without feeling like you missed out and you're a loser. In other words, everyone thinks the metaverse is dystopia. What if the reality we're in right now is dystopia? And the metaverse is a place where you can go to find happiness for 3 hours. Now, if you think about it that way, and you look at Decentraland, okay, yeah, you missed it. So what? Everybody missed it. That's why it traded the way it did. But do you want to buy the dip? Can't give investment advice, but I'm going to leave it up to you. Okay, Axie Infinity. Now, so this like Solana has, definitely done its thing from 20 up to 160. And the question with Axie Infinity is, with it chopping around between 114 and 133, is this the type of a play where it's like equities, where it's like buy high, sell higher? A Solana could be the same thing. So could Polkadot. Don't worry. We're going to get to that. Don't worry. What I'm saying is, according to our AI ranking system, when I hit the metaverse and it shows me the rankings, which we'll get to in Altcoin Overtime. So you want to make sure you stay tuned not only for Forrest and Mehdi, but for Altcoin Overtime. You also want to be smashing the like button. The question is Axie Infinity capable of becoming like the Amazon or the Netflix of the metaverse and of crypto? These are the questions you have to start asking yourself as you develop, drum roll, an investment thesis for the metaverse. Is the metaverse a trading play? Maybe. Maybe. You won't know. But in the meantime, if it's got an investing narrative, because after all, Zuckerberg's not stupid. It's got an investing narrative. Then you got to start asking yourself, what's the next Facebook? What's the next Amazon? What's the next Netflix? Right? What's the next Las Vegas? Right? Zed Run, horse racing. Hey, ideal for the metaverse, right? Start asking yourself, oh my God, you know, if this thing is going to build New York, LA, Vegas, you know, combined with Facebook, Amazon. I mean, I'm watching television the other day and there's like this dance number where everyone's wearing VR glasses and they're all playing some cool lightsaber game. This is happening right now, folks, on television. Okay, Engine Coin, another metaverse-related play. I noticed, yes, people are selling it. They got the 3X. You know, there's nothing wrong with taking your money if you're a trader on a 3X. But as an investor, when traders take their money, that can be an opportunity to get in. Do you have to get in today? Honestly, I don't know. Do you need to know what this coin is, what it does? Do you need to study? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Not investment advice doesn't mean don't do your homework. Start doing your homework, right? If you did your homework on layer ones 6 months ago, you're retired. Most likely, if there's a correction or a sideways month, quarter, or year in Bitcoin, the only investing narrative may be the metaverse. So wouldn't it be funny if a lot of altcoins got really hammered for whatever reason, and that gave you an opportunity to jump into these metaverse plays on a dip? Patience is a virtue. You can have a small position. Having small positions, not investment advice, can help focus your attention and help you learn. So all the things that you should have done with Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana back in the day are something you can start doing with the metaverse. Polka City went from 23 cents to $3. Massive FOMO, took out, you know, a big fib number at $1.86, came back below it. It's got kind of a Shiba Inu panic buying followed by correction. But the question is, if you follow this on the token metrics rankings, you know, we'll get to that in a minute. You follow it over time. See if you can pick this kind of stuff up when our rankings show it favorably, or use it to research the coins yourselves from the token metrics rankings. Sandbox. Wow. 72 cents to 344 and not moving, not budging. You know I said no FOMO, and I'm not telling you to FOMO into Sandbox. I'm really not. But somewhere in the metaverse, there's going to be like a mega trade. There's going to be something that just goes up and sits there. Something that doesn't dip. Now, at the moment, that's Sandbox. 4 days later, 4 months later, 4 years later, that could be different. But when I look at this chart, I'm like, oh man, somebody out there knows that one day big corporations who can't get involved in the metaverse or can't figure it out are going to start putting these coins on their balance sheet, especially if they allow them to get real estate eventually. This is the currency of the metaverse, like ETH, either way, they're going to start putting this stuff on their balance sheet going, okay, we don't have a metaverse strategy. We just got to get the right money or NFTs on our balance sheet to be able to jump in and take advantage of it. Because if we can't beat Zuckerberg with a centralized solution, we're going to have to jump in and get involved in the decentralized universe. Okay, Illuvium. I think the analyst that discovered this couldn't be with us today. Support is at 1,000. If Illuvium goes Solana, it could go to 2,400. So not investment advice, don't FOMO. But what I'm saying is another angle on the metaverse is you got to start using your imagination as to what this stuff could do. So there's a difference between buying any green candle in a small cap metaverse play. There's a difference between that and saying, okay, I want to buy the dip because if this thing re-rates, reprices, what can it do? Like ETH went from 600 to 1,200 once. Should you have not bought it at 1,200? Would you have not bought the dip to 1,000 if there's a 20% washout in the market? In other words, maybe you stay away from all this stuff for like a week, sit in ETH, not investment advice, and then come back to it off an altcoin washout. But the most important thing is, if a washout occurs, trust me, I've been through this. You won't want to buy it. You won't. Unless you've used your imagination to say, okay, here's some TA, here's a thought, here's what this thing could do. Like what happens if total crypto market cap or the top 20 coins is Bitcoin, ETH, Polkadot, Solana, Avalanche, and the metaverse, and everything else is out? Where are these coins trading? These are the things you have to remember if they get hammered on a dip. Now, some more distasteful stuff to go along with your Facebook, morning or afternoon porridge. Our AI indices, all exchange daily index is picking up on tokenized QQQ. That's NASDAQ 100 and Tesla. So it's picking up on momentum plays in the equity market. Now that could mean a couple things. QQQ could mean that, the Fed has triggered another wild wave of speculation because it declined to start printing money. QQQ could also start rallying because these big companies now have a new catalyst in the metaverse. It's just make it traded slowly and differently than they're doing it with Facebook, because everybody is going to panic and develop a metaverse strategy. Meanwhile, Tesla, with $1 billion in Bitcoin, just continues to smoke to the upside. So here's QQQ going all green, right? Fed, just wave your hands in the air like you just don't care. It's tough to get bullish at the top. It's tough to be positive on this stuff, because in crypto, we just kind of hate all this wealth inequality crap. But the fact is, our AI has been right on these momentum trades. Other technical analysts, I was in a Forbes article the other day, and one of the other analysts is like, yeah, momentum is great in ETH, right? Technical analysts, our AI, they have ways of measuring momentum. Now, we like to buy stuff when it's down, but, people in equities have to figure out when is a good time to buy high and sell higher. Okay, Tesla. So it's at 800. I thought it was going to 1,000. Or no. I said it was going to 1,000. Okay, it could go to 1,000 because I had a fib number there. But I really didn't actually believe in my heart of hearts that Tesla was really going to smoke to 1,000. And now Tesla's waving its hands in the air like I just don't care. Musk is worth $1 trillion. And I'm starting to wonder whether this thing can go to just $2,000 if Tesla is the Bitcoin from 2017, right? Like the stupid thing that no one wants to buy that everyone thinks is ridiculous could be Tesla. Why does that belong in the crypto market update? Well, if you're long altcoins and Bitcoin and Tesla and QQQ are taken off, that's not going to leave a lot of capital for smaller stuff that you may like, that may be good, but the capital may just flow somewhere else. Speaking of capital, Galaxy Digital. I'm never going to get off Galaxy Digital. Never. I'm just long and strong unless the whole thing crashes. I don't care. So everyone blew this guy off. Mike Novogratz. The guy has Bitcoin. He has big caps, Luna, Woo Network, right? And then he's got this whole NFT subsidiary, and he's investing hundreds of millions of dollars in gaming, Metaverse likely next, right? If he's not doing it already. And his stock is a way to play the crypto market without getting killed, right? If the market goes down 20%, yeah, all right, Galaxy may correct 15%, but Galaxy's not going to go down 80%, or so I hope, which is what can happen to altcoins if there's an oopsie-daisy correction coming up in the market. We don't know. But in the meantime, Galaxy Digital looks like it's headed for 48. And that is the market update. All right. So let's move for some advanced TA over to Forrest. Forrest, take it away while I get a water break, man. Go.
Yeah. Thank you for the legendary market update. I'm sharing my screen now. Let me know if you guys can see that. If you can't see it, let me try to reshare real quick. Oh, never mind. All right. Looks like you guys can see it. All right. So what is Bitcoin doing right now? Well, right now it's dumping off a little bit, but I believe that this is a really, really good buying opportunity, not only in Bitcoin, but also in altcoins. I'm maintaining bullish sentiment until I see us break this bullish structure that we worked so hard to create, right? So we had our all-time high right here. This was $67,000, give or take, right? We came back down, we crashed, found support on our margin pressure level here, right? We knew this is very strong support. We knew it was going to be either resistance on the way up or support after we broke through it. And it's been very, very strong support. If you just look at the support in this range, it's been very, very strong. We tested below it, right? We tested below it, fell down to our other margin pressure level, our 2x margin pressure level at around 58.5. Held that, pumped back up above this 2x margin pressure or 3x margin pressure level, right? This slightly yellow one, right? So let me break down this Bitcoin structure a little bit for you guys. So we had our all-time high, we had our lower high, right? We had our low, and then we had our lower low, right? But then after we tested this 58.5 margin pressure level, found buyers down here, very strong buyers. We pumped all the way up. We actually had a wick, right? A trick Bitcoin wick all the way back down to test this level again in a very brief period of time. But pay attention, 4-hour chart, 4-hour candles here. This wick actually finished green. It actually finished green. It crashed down below this level, found very, very strong buyers down at this level again, finished green, right? We then went on to break this downtrend, right? This downtrend, we had our all-time high, our lower high, right? And then we broke the downtrend. We got through this downtrend and we created a bump and run pattern, right? Bump and run is just when you break the downtrend, come back on top of it, find support and run higher. Now, Bitcoin looks like it's dumping off right now. And if we go over to funding rates are bearish right now. Funding rates are bearish in the short term. However, I think this is a good dip buying opportunity because of the structure of Bitcoin's price, in that it's very strong, right? Very bullish in my opinion. So we had our all-time high, lower high, again with a lower high, right? But off of our new low, we made this high, right? Then we made a higher low. That is very, very key, right? Not only was it a higher low, it was a higher low that found support on top of this key margin pressure level, right? That has acted as support in this entire range, right? And it was on our downtrend line, confirming our bump and run pattern up higher, right? So then we made our higher low, but we also made our higher high. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Breaking 63K. So I've had the 63K with an up arrow here on this chart for probably the past week and a half. I don't know how long it's been now, but basically saying if we get this bump and run and we break through 63K, that is extraordinarily bullish. Now you're probably wondering, oh, if it's so bullish, why are we coming back down? Well, we're coming back down, and as long as we make a higher, right, we already tested it with a wick. As long as we make a higher low, still bullish, right? Bitcoin's going to trade in a volatility range of 5 to 10% any given day or week, right? So far, we've seen a 5% correction, 5.5% correction from our local high. But as long as we don't drop below our previous low, still bullish price action, right? So if we get a bounce on this, what we now have here with an established trend line, right? If we now get a support here, create another higher low, right? And then go on to make a higher high up here, that's again, very, very bullish. So if you want to be macro bullish, right? I would say that now's the time to jump into whatever you're looking at. Now, do we want to be reckless? Do we want to be, taking money out of the bank fresh into this bull market when we are overextended against our trend line and we are, a 70% drop away from coming back down to our total cryptocurrency market cap fair value trend line? Do we want to just be throwing money into the market willy-nilly without regard for the fact that we are 570 days away from fair value? What that means is that if the market crashed and we went into a bear market right now, we would expect it to take somewhere around 570 days at worst for the market cap to recover. That's a risk measurement, right? So we're at about a $2.7 trillion total cryptocurrency market cap, right? If we use our total cryptocurrency market cap fair value trend line that's been holding for the last 8 years, we would expect that trend line to take about 570 days to catch back up to where the market's at right now. Okay. So do we want to get reckless here? No, absolutely not. But if we want to, we took profits, if we took profits up here, right? We took profits, recently on a cryptocurrency that pumped. Maybe we trimmed. Now it's time to add our position or buy back in, right? Do we want to be careful and have stop losses? Absolutely, right? If Bitcoin comes back down to test this level and it doesn't hold, right? And we don't at least get a double bottom, right? The double bottom being here, right? I'd like to make a higher low, but if we make a double bottom, that can still be bullish, and then we'll have to fight to get back up on this trend line, and we could get in a situation where we start bleeding out a little bit. But as long as we at least make a double bottom, I think it's completely fine. Now, I would personally rather buy here than wait until we test this level, because if we start testing this level, things are getting a little bit dicey. I don't know how much faith I want to put in this level holding, right? But as far as a stop loss goes, I'd personally be putting a stop loss around this level, right? If we break this level and we make a new lower low down here, my L's are bad there, lower low, down its range below 58K, then that's pretty bearish, to be quite honest. We make another lower low, we could be looking at a washout to maybe 52, 53, 54K, right? And that's where I'd start, or I would expect to start seeing some support for Bitcoin, right? But why am I maintaining this bullish sentiment? Because the price structure and the price action, right, at a macro level, yeah, today it's been bearish, but today we're spilling off. But at a macro level, we're still bullish. We're still making higher highs and higher lows, right? If we get a bounce here, which we should, if we continue this bullish sentiment, then we should go on to a higher high. Not only that, we're also just seeing on-chain data for Ethereum look really, really good. I bring this up every single week because I don't think people are putting enough stock into it. People are being greedy and going after really small cap altcoins, when the best risk to reward ratio, in my opinion, the safest play, again, maybe not the highest reward, but certainly, in my opinion, one of the lowest risk plays right now is Ethereum, despite it being at a new all-time high, right? Despite it making an all-time high yesterday at just under $4,700, I still think the risk to reward ratio is extremely attractive on Ethereum. Why? Because it's just being burned at an alarming rate. The supply is shrinking. Exchange reserves are at an all-time low. People are accumulating it. Smart money is accumulating it. Speaking of smart money is actually buying here. They're buying the dip today. Their stablecoin allocation has actually gone down, right? So they're not actually taking profits. They're getting more exposed to the market currently. Now that could flip at the change. That could flip in moments, right? But so far, what I'm seeing with on-chain data tracking smart money, look like they're buying this dip, right? Back to Ethereum net issuance, down 62%, more than a Bitcoin halving. Right. If we look at the last month, it's been an 80% net reduction in Ethereum. If we look at this last 7 days, for the last 7 days, Ethereum has been deflationary. That means more Ethereum right now is being burned, right, than is coming into existence through mining rewards. That is an extremely bullish indicator for Ethereum. I can't understate how bullish that is. When we see a 50% reduction in Bitcoin's net issuance every 4 years, it's the catalyst for a whole multi-year or at least 1 year long bull market. Usually it's multi-year bull market. Now we're seeing in the second largest cryptocurrency with extraordinary, a cryptocurrency that is the backbone of the metaverse, the backbone of DeFi, the largest smart contract network, second largest cryptocurrency by market cap, has now flipped to be deflationary. I cannot understate enough how bullish that is for Ethereum. Now, yes, if Bitcoin crashes, if the stock market crashes, is there risk? Does it mean there's no risk at all just because the on-chain data? No, of course not. There's always risk no matter what, right? Of course, Ethereum could wash back out to $3,000, to $2,000, given the right circumstances, right? But we're working with probabilities, as Bill said. We're working with probabilities. What this data tells us is that Ethereum is probably going to continue to go up. Speaking of price action structures, Ethereum looks absolutely incredible. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, double bottom, higher low, right? Depending on, we could drop all the way down to $4,100 before seeing a double bottom scenario, right? And as long as we find support above $4,100, we're making another higher low, right? Higher high, higher high, higher high. A little bit of double top action right there. Higher high, higher high. Price structure for price action for Ethereum, just absurdly bullish. One thing I do want to mention, we are seeing similar total cryptocurrency market cap price action that is conducive to a big run up, right? And I'm not trying to get overly bullish right here. I'm actually extremely cautious. I'm cautiously bullish, but what we're seeing right now is this nice tight bundling of green candles on total cryptocurrency market cap. Usually that is what precedes a big run up, like we've seen in the past, right? You get this tight bundling of a multi-week period of time where you get these little green candles. So we've had 6 green candles in a row. These are weekly candles, right? And then you get a big run up, a big move. We saw this back in even in the bottom off of the bottom of the bear market, right? Now, keep in mind, we also saw this leading up into the pandemic, right? But that's what happened. A pandemic that crashed all markets happened, right? We can't control for that. So just because things look really bullish doesn't mean that some macro factor can't come in and just crash us back down to this trend line. There's always risk. Right now, the price action we're seeing, right, in this series of this little bundle of green weekly candles looks really bullish. It's usually what precedes a big run, right? If you just kind of study fractals as well, I mean, we're seeing really similar fractals to where you get a bundle of green candles, a healthy correction, another bundle of green candles, and then you go parabolic, right? So I'm not saying we're guaranteed to go parabolic or make an aggressive move here. In fact, I think we could absolutely see another little washout or correction here. But overall, I'm maintaining my bullish sentiment until at least the Bitcoin price action if I go back over here, the Bitcoin price structure flips to be a bearish price structure, right? Right now, to me, it looks very bullish. And until we break this trend line down here and break this support down here, I'm not flipping to being bearish. Right now, I'm pretty comfortable buying this dip today. If things bleed out worse, then we'll talk about maybe some hedging and shorting opportunities. But yeah, overall, pretty bullish going forward. Let's kick it back over to Bill and Mehdi here.
Thank you, Forrest. All right, Mehdi, what do you got for us today, man? What are you looking at?
Before I jump onto that, hi everyone, and great analysis, Forrest. Just to add on Forrest's point regarding Ethereum, I think Ethereum there is a fundamental catalyst for Ethereum touching all-time high. I think within next few weeks, not financial advice, I think Ethereum can actually go to 5,000. Now, there are a few reasons why I say that. There has been increase in on-chain activity, and because of that, you can also see higher gas prices. And this has actually meant that last week was the first week where we saw on net emission, Ethereum becoming deflationary. So we had all of this narrative that Ethereum will become deflationary, but last week was the evidence that Ethereum became deflationary thanks to the high on-chain activity and high gas prices. In addition to that, I'm also seeing a lot of Ethereum being locked up in smart contracts, and I'm also kind of seeing a lot of Ethereum leaving exchanges. That means people are very bullish Ethereum. That said, I have another project apart from Ethereum, which I'm very bullish on. Uh, has anybody over here heard about Trader Joe? If you have, please comment below. One second, let me share my screen.
Yeah, big fan of the Avalanche ecosystem, becoming more and more bullish on the Avalanche ecosystem.
Yeah, guys, this could be the future. This could be the future of trading and DeFi all rolled into one. I saw his presentation yesterday. So anybody out there who's into Avalanche, listen up.
Yeah, so I'm actually super bullish on Trader Joe, and I'm saying that not because it reminds me on Minecraft. There are good reasons for it, and I'm just gonna decipher some of these reasons for you from a very fundamental perspective. So you have conviction when you buy uh, Trader Joe. Financial advice again. So first thing first, within Ethereum, we have a big blockchain problem. As you guys all know, Ethereum is slow. You have high gas fees, and there's also a problem of front running. So Ethereum today is around 4,500. That means if you want to do some transactions at 180 Go, the cost will be about $100. So if you're a retailer, you don't want that, right? You don't want to use Ethereum for small transactions, and plus you don't have instant finality, right? If you do transaction, it can take few minutes to, depending on how active the network is, it can take few minutes. Whilst on Avalanche, you can do a transaction in few seconds. It's not just that, even the whole user experience is amazing, right? Like if you go on Avalanche, bridging from Ethereum to Avalanche is simple, and the gas fees is also reasonable. So all in all, for DEX, if you're talking about DEX, uh, Avalanche as a chain also makes sense because of all of these features. So from a macro perspective, Avalanche supports Trader Joe very nicely. But now let's talk about some of the micro perspectives, right? So if you know, DEXs are one of those protocols that operates in a winner take all marketplace. So for instance, if you see DEX in Ethereum, which is the first name that comes to your mind, and please mention below. The first name that comes to your mind is Uniswap, right? And when I mention Binance Smart Chain, what's the first name that comes to your mind? That's PancakeSwap. So these chains have one DEX that becomes the primary place where users go, and I think similar thing will happen in AVEX ecosystem. So decentralized exchanges have a winner take all market, and I believe Trader Joe is going to be one of those exchanges that takes all the market when it comes to dexes there. So Trader Joe is not just a DEX or AMM. They have also launched a lending product, and in the future, since the founder has experience in derivatives, I have a feeling that they are going to launch a lot many derivative products. So when you have derivative products, you have lending products, you have a DEX, and in the future you also have margin trading. You are talking about one stop shop, which will attract lot many users, not just within the AVAX ecosystem, but from uh, other ecosystems as well. So this is also one of the reasons why I like Trader Joe so much. Also, the third point why I like Trader Joe is the community first focus, and I think this is the key when it comes to having a very sustainable protocol within crypto. Building up a community is very important. So 50% of all the token supply went to liquidity providers. So people like us, we got these tokens rather than VCs. So for me, this is a very attractive value proposition. Kind of shows to me that the founder has that culture mindset that crypto is all about users, it's all about community rather than making money for themselves or for crypto. So another reason why I like Trader Joe. Also, there was some small allocation towards VCs. So you also have some VCs involved, and these VCs are high quality, extremely high quality VC. So when we talk about Defiance Capital and Mechanism Capital, they are DeFi specialist VC. So if these VCs are involved, that kind of also shows you, gives you validation that this is a good product. Apart from that, Avalanche Foundation and Delphi Digital is also involved. Again, very big name. So when some of the big names are also involved, even though they're given a very small allocation, that also should kind of give you a green flag that this is a good project. So I don't know if you have guys have used Trader Joe before, but when I used it, I fell in love with the UI and the user interface. You have like when you're harvesting a coin, you have these music playing. You also have like these interesting. You also have a chart which Penguin previously in AVAX didn't have. So I really like the user experience and the fact that you can provide liquidity with one click. So let's say traditionally you had to have two tokens. Let's say if I'm providing liquidity to AVAX and Trader Joe, I had to have both tokens and then basically provide liquidity. But what Trader Joe also does is I don't have to have both tokens. I can only have one token, and they have a mechanism in play where that one token will be split into two parts, and I can basically buy basically provide liquidity. And yes, if you are a Joe staker, you also would have received some airdrops recently called Tractor. So well done if you were staking Joe. Uh, I, there are a few other reasons why I also like Joe, which I'll mention, which I'll discuss later. Is firstly you have a reasonable valuation, and the final reason is that recently the Joe community they launched a meme coin called Tractor. So this is a meme coin with a purpose, right? It's not like Doge, I would say, where every transaction, let's say if you're buying Tractor Joe, if you're buying or selling Tractor Joe, there will be 2% fees for buying or selling Tractor Joe. And that 2% fee will be accumulated to burn off Joe. So that 2% fee will be accumulated in a pool, which will be used to buy back Joe and burn those Joe permanently. So another reason why I like Joe very much. So again, so another reason, like I mentioned this reason before, that user interference is amazing. Uh, Usually, you don't see charts within dexes. Like let's say if you have used within Avalanche Penguin before, they don't have a chart. So you're basically swapping coins without even knowing what's going on. And plus, I mentioned earlier the UI and UX is beautiful. This is one example of it, and I think it will attract a lot of DeFi uh, degens who basically want the memification, the gaming element of basically trading. So I think this also caters to that. So prior to last couple of days, the prices have stabilized, but before that, prices were falling. And don't worry, the prices weren't falling for just like that. There was a large unlock of tokens. because of LP provision. So that's why the prices were falling. But I believe that was the time to accumulate. And if you are accumulating during this time, kudos to you. I think you're doing well. Again, not financial advice. Again, I also wanted to show that why Trader Joe will be the dominant DEX over here. So let's say if you see the chart over here, this is all the DEXs currently on Avalanche. So just see how much TVL Trader Joe has captured. While Pangolin over here has been operational for the last 6-7 months, they have stagnated. Whilst Joe has not only increased their TVL, but they have been thriving and they became the dominant player. So this basically should give you conviction in your thesis that Trader Joe is going to become the Uniswap of Avalanche. So this again shows you the similar picture. The TVL in Trader Joe massively, like 2.3 billion versus just peanuts compared to Penguin over here. So yeah, Trader Joe has good prospect with regards to that. So also, if you look at the website, unique visitors visiting Trader Joe's website, again you see a very strong uptrend, and this uptrend is basically not dipping anymore. So you have 112 unique visitor visiting. Again, a very bullish sign for Trader Joe. So again, you can have a project, but then a project could be very expensive to buy. So over here, I've also done a valuation, which kind of gives you which is the cheapest and the most expensive, which is basically this kind of gives you a value investing approach. That let's say if I were to buy a token, am I buying a token at a very high valuation or lower valuation? So if you look at it, Pangolin is pretty expensive if you compare it on the fully diluted market cap versus how much. So Pangolin very expensive, whilst Trader Joe is basically operating in this league, like on the value investing side of things. So it's slightly more expensive than Sushi, but it's still on the cheaper side. Whilst Pancake and Pangolin and Uniswap are more expensive. So you are basically buying an investment which is at reasonably valued. So you should have confidence in that. Also, this is price to earning. So let's say if you're paying a price for a particular token, how many times earning are you paying for it? So this is also one of the matrices used in the equity market. So at the moment, if you buy Curve, which is also a stablecoin AMM, you are paying with the price you're basically paying them 280 times, 88 times the earnings they're generating. Whilst with Trader Joe, you are basically paying them 28.6 times the earnings they will generate. So even on this metric, Trader Joe is very cheap and should be something one should consider when buying. This is like a brief comparison with Pangolin. So Trader Joe have around 6 times, 7 times more volume. So for a DEX, volume and liquidity is the most important metrics, and Trader Joe is basically excelling at it and kind of dominating Pangolin. Again, valuation wise, also much cheaper. Yeah, again cheaper, also cheaper in terms of PE. So all in all, Trader Joe looks very attractive in terms of entry point. Finally, I'm also doing a relative valuation where I'm assuming the AVAX price at $72. So let's say if you have AVAX at $72 and Trader Joe, because it becomes the Uniswap of Avalanche ecosystem, if it captures 15 to 20% of its market share, what's the target price I should aim for? So the target price you should aim for is $12 to $16. So that's the target price I get if I believe it captures 15 to 20%. I believe 10 to 15% is reasonable within few months. So for me, the target price is around this level based on that metric. So I've also done and attempted to do some TA. So so with this, what I'm seeing is a wedge. So if you can do two things, either you can see a clear breakout of this wedge around $3.4 and you can basically enter, or you can basically wait for an entry at the bottom of this wedge, and then hopefully it breaks in the future. And I've also done some GAN analysis. So one of the things is that recent price action is also very bullish. It broke this it broke this angle, and if it starts to break the grand resistance over here at $4, sorry, around the $260, then there can also be a good upside. Now in terms of where you can buy Joe, I would basically instead of buying Joe, I would basically do yield farming, so provide liquidity, and based on that, just try to earn Joe. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this presentation, and thank you.
Mehdi, definitely, we always appreciate all the work that goes into that. I know out there, as an analyst, I know that when you see a PowerPoint slide with a graph on it, that graph didn't appear by itself. A lot of work goes into each individual slide, and we are, of course, grateful to Mehdi. Now, switching gears just briefly, Berlin Rivas is asking us, are you guys religious? Well, let me just say this. Crypto, if you're in it long enough, will move in such a way that you might pray. I know that I didn't mean that to rhyme, but you know, crypto can create unbelievable gains. You can wear a lampshade on your head and drink a lot. And crypto can also, like I said, put the cry in crypto. So I can't answer that question directly, but you know, let's just say that if you're in crypto long enough, interesting things will happen. Speaking of interesting things, let's get to Altcoin Overtime. Because I know, I'm not looking, but I know y'all have been hitting the like button. So I'm not even going to check because I know you've been doing it. It's kind of like the teacher that tells you to do your homework and then doesn't check it, right? It's kind of hoping you've done it anyway. So hit that like button and here we go. My God, can you believe this dollar? Is it ever going to go down? Is there any end to the pain in legacy? I mean, every trade in legacy that they wanted to do has gone wrong. Now, why am I bringing this up in Altcoin Overtime? Well, down 2% in Bitcoin. It looks okay. It looks like it's holding support. The day the dollar goes down is the day the metaverse and altcoins can run. So, you know, the market update was a little bit like, okay, what happens if it gets hammered? Altcoin Overtime is what happens if something good happens, which could be the dollar finally going lower or stop going up, etc. Now, somebody in the chat was asking about a possible double top in total crypto market cap on a 4-hour chart. I'm not necessarily seeing that. I know if you're watching this 4 days from now that, you know, a 4-hour chart, you know, you have to bear with us. But, you know, like Forrest said, Bitcoin may be returning to an area of support and total crypto market cap looks like it's doing the same thing around 2.6 trillion. So, you know, at 3% down, it feels like a crash, but it probably really isn't. It's just an opportunity to get involved and take a deep breath and develop a plan, right? So if it goes, you know, if you get more downside in Bitcoin, this would probably be a negative formation in total crypto market cap, but for the moment, it's okay, right? Somebody asking for SLP, you know, this could be the bigger the base, the higher in the space, because this thing came out, crashed, did nothing. You know, support, the old ceiling at 10 cents roughly is now possibly the floor. So if you must, make sure you do it on a dip, you buy it on a dip rather than chasing. Okay, again, I'm bringing up SHIB, right? SHIB is okay as long as it doesn't mess up your head. In other words, if you didn't get involved in SHIB and you don't want to get involved in SHIB, but you feel bad that you missed it, right? Then I would suggest you do something to hopefully shift away from what I missed over to what can I gain. Okay, XRP, inevitably, you know, there's curiosity about XRP. $1.18 has sort of been a rejection point. XRP has not been able to hold above this point. You know, there was some FOMO back in September, but it's sort of like is almost in a way glued to the level. It can't stay above it. It can't stay below it. So I don't have trend line work like Forrest does, but this may be kind of like fair value in XRP where, you know, it's neutral at $1.18. Okay, AVAX just got done with Trader Joe. You know, if AVAX comes back to a dip around 73 and holds, there's a lot of reason why AVAX could go much, much higher, right? So as I said earlier, you want to be set up to not get killed on a dip. But you also want to be set up in the event that this thing dips and it turns around and goes parabolic, that you've got enough risk on to make money. Okay, Avalanche, Solana, ETH, those are the places where, the ecosystems where, the coins could be to benefit. Okay, again, Solana supported 236, possible move to 280. Again, depends on the depth of the dip. Now, Polkadot. Polkadot is doing the wave your hands in the air, I just don't care, breakout above the old high near 50. Green candles are building up, meaning every dip is getting bought. 58 is a possible target. I think if altcoins break $1 trillion market cap, it is going to be Polkadot leading Solana and AVAX, right? So I do think DOT is the leader. Resistance is at 58. I think if there was going to be a FOMO trade in, that you would probably do that trade above 58, not investment advice. Okay. Polkadot, the narrative, Web3, I've been blowing up about this since this thing bottomed, and I don't see any reason to stop. Okay. Because again, every dip is getting bought, and it might up until the parachain auctions start at the end of November. So you may be in the buy the rumor phase and sell the fact may come later. Matic, Polygon, should have gone to 295. It didn't. My excitement level on this is falling. Okay. That always happens when things go down, that I get less excited. I'm human like you. It should go to 295. So if you want to try to buy the dip with support against $1.73, I can't blame you, but there may be more excitement elsewhere. The easy money on the triangle breakout may have been made. Now, Eden, an interesting DeFi protocol. Smart money seemed to be coming into this, and it trades awful. All right. Now, it always trades awful at a bottom, just the way ETH versus Bitcoin did before ETH started to catch up to Bitcoin. So, two takeaways from this chart. One, it's either going to recover, we're going to see the smart money footprint, or no one cares about this kind of stuff anymore. No one cares, right? It's kind of like Mehdi said, it's like winner take all. It's like AVAX, Solana, Trader Joe, and the metaverse. And everything else gets left by the side of the road. I hope that doesn't happen with Eden, but I think when I saw this chart, that's one of the things I thought. I was like, wait a minute. When Mehdi said winner take all, that means take all. The best example in business school from winner take all is like Microsoft Windows, right? That was the primary operating system for PCs for a very, very long time. So winner take all means all, and everything else gets left in the dust. So I know that's a little radical, not saying it's going to happen to Eden, but you have to think about what are the winners going to be? What's the big investment thesis, metaverse? And where do I want to put my capital? Bitcoin, ETH, Avalanche, Trader Joe, etc., to take advantage of upside. Okay, Chili's, again, goes from 30 to 60 cents. All right, and then starts coming back off to support near 45. So a prior ceiling could become a floor. Generally speaking, all this gaming, NFT stuff that's out there, I think is like, it's almost that you have to adopt a portfolio mentality, right? How can I collect these coins into a portfolio so if they turn around and there's another leg up now or next year, that I'm positioned for that? How can I take an equities mentality and move it to crypto? Now, 1inch. So if Trader Joe takes all in the Avalanche universe, who's going to winner take all in the ETH universe or in general? 1inch is a good category to look at. The easy money may have been made on the huge spike from 4 to 7.5. Smart money was involved, but I am interested to see if 4 and change holds as support. I'm interested. Am I in love with this? No, But I think you're going to get a lot of information out of what happens with this coin. Because if, Avalanche and Solana and the DEXs related to that are going to eat the lunch of everybody in the ETH universe, you'll probably know if people stop buying 1inch. Now, Beta Finance. So if you staked Alpha, which we like, you got an airdrop of Beta Finance. Beta Finance, as I understand it, helps you short cryptocurrencies. Beta is hitting the 62% of its run-up near $1.81. So if it holds, protocol that helps you want to short cryptocurrency could indicate further correction in the market. If Beta Finance falls out of bed and is just a pump and dump, then that would probably be more constructive, possibly, for the overall market. So sometimes there are little leading indicators. The way REN was a good leading indicator for DOT, Beta may be a good indicator as to whether or not anyone has interest in shorting crypto. Most likely everyone's talking parabolic, and I get it. Forrest has got to work. It's all good, particularly that nifty stuff about a collection of green candles that eventually leads to a launch higher. So if that's true, and it probably is, eventually, keep an eye on Beta Finance, because there's an indicator now for people's appetite to be short. Okay, Token Metrics. TokenMetrics.com, our sponsor, has a low-end plan that I am feeling a strong need to discuss because we have the ability to filter by sectors. So I believe at our lower-end plan for $18 a month, you can get rankings of different cryptos by sector. And wouldn't you know, I have become ridiculously interested in buying the metaverse on a dip. So I am like all over this in terms of being able to look at, say, all the big market cap coins or all the top rated coins that exist for the metaverse, right? This is one filter showing like Illuvium, Avigoche, Starlink, Sandbox, Engine Coin, etc. Right? What are the coins in the metaverse? How do you build a portfolio? Like what do I even study? Right? I've discussed why you should study it. Now I'm telling you on tokenmetrics.com, there's a way to do it. And if this wasn't a big investment theme, right, I wouldn't be bringing this up. Yes, we're sponsored by tokenmetrics.com because that's where we work, because we got to eat too. But I don't always like hammer shill on the stream. Well, I'm hammer shilling on using our platform to study the metaverse. Okay, this is actually the one that shows the biggest coins. Again, Axie Infinity, Decentraland. What do you know about these coins? Like, what do you know? Do you know, like, everything you can get your hands on about these coins before you put your money in? Like, if there's an opportunity to grab this stuff on a dip, what do you want to do? Where do you want to do it? Believe it or not, your estimation and your guess can be as good as mine. Because guess what? There may be metaverse analysts inside like big hedge funds, but there's no metaverse department at Goldman, Morgan Stanley. There isn't. This is the tool to become the metaverse analyst, and you can believe, right, just as sure as God made little apples, that we are all over this using this stuff, and I would encourage you to do the same. Now, a little special treat from our financial engineering group. They are playing around at the request of our premium customers with ideas about how to create groupings of coins with proper risk management and diversification within the metaverse. So he mixed, or the quant department mixed ETH, Engine Coin, Illuvium, GST, GHST, all in a portfolio, and they got the biggest allocations, with highly speculative coins like, Sandbox and Decentraland getting smaller allocations. So what is the moral of this story? One, it's not investment advice, but it gives you an example, okay, of sort of the mathematics that he did to try to figure out how to allocate money to what projects. Now, in case you're not a Python, master student from Columbia in New York, you can still do this work and figure out what allocation works for you. Do you add one coin to a portfolio? Do you have 2 or 3? Do you trade what's on Coinbase, etc.? Okay, GHST, okay, hitting a former resistance point, now looking like support at $2.25. Of all like the metaverse plays, when I look at this would argue that there won't be a deeper dip. Basically, Forrest is telling you straight up, Bitcoin, ETH down 2-3%. That's pretty much it if the market's good, and it probably is. Okay, cool. So leverage what he's saying and say, all right, if some of this metaverse stuff is 50% off of its high, or something like this dips from 280 to 225, it's worth it to take a shot with a stop. You might lose money, but the way they do it in stocks, if there's a major investment theme like FANG, hey, you might catch the next wave. Because in the metaverse, in my opinion, there may be a next wave. It may be the thing that catapults ETH, NFTs, and takes the whole thing up with it. In other words, everyone is always looking for the new Bitcoin. Remember that? Like, I don't know, Ampleforth was like the next Bitcoin, right? We get this through AMAs, when we were on the stream. What's the next Bitcoin? The next Bitcoin is the metaverse, period, right? It's the thing everyone's got to have, right? And you're going to need ETH, NFTs, and these tokens somehow, somewhere to get involved. Not all the tokens, but again, if you can build a diversified portfolio, okay? I mean, you don't care what social media app wound up winning out when you bought QQQ, NASDAQ 100. You just knew the winner was in there somewhere. Okay, so yeah, you have to do it manually. There's no magic one push button way to invest in the metaverse, but that doesn't mean that it's not worth it to do the homework. Because as you might have noticed, I've been going on and on about this because I think it's worth it to do the homework, particularly since some of this stuff is way off its high. Okay, Engine Coin, support around 290. All right, hanging out, trying to figure out whether it wants to break the big resistance that's at 4. If you use your imagination, if Engine Coin gets going, it could go to 6. Does that mean FOMO in right this second? No. But if you're watching this 4 days from now and you're like, oh, was this higher or lower than when the guys at Tokenmetrics made the recording? It's higher. Look at that. Or it's lower. That could be an opportunity, right? Like studying off whatever happens today, November 4th, looking at this, when you look at it today, you watch the replay on tokenmetrics.com, or you're seeing this on social in a couple of days, right? What these coins do on corrections or turnarounds up in the market, both we may see by the time you see this, will give you information. It will help you learn, and I'm strongly encouraging you to do so, and that is Altcoin Overtime. All right, folks. Gentlemen, anything else? Did we cover it all?
Yeah, I think we covered it all. I mean, guys, if you want to be a crypto bull and a Bitcoin bull today, there's a good dip buying opportunity. We're seeing smart money buy this dip. We're not seeing smart money sell the dip, right? So does that guarantee that that we're going to bounce here and go up from here? No, it doesn't guarantee anything. But we're seeing smart money jump in. We're seeing bullish price action and bullish price structures on Bitcoin and ETH. So it looks like a good dip to buy, right? We, like Bill said, we're working with probabilities here. We're not dealing with absolutes. Nothing in crypto is guaranteed. But if we can lean, if we can use our analysis to give ourselves an edge and make it so it's not a 50-50 shot at picking the right direction, and it's more of a 75-25 shot. If we keep taking those bets, we're going to be right more than we're wrong, and we're going to be profitable more often than we're unprofitable. You just keep compounding that, and before you know it, you've made a lot of money in crypto.
All right, folks. that's it for us today. Once again, we want to thank our sponsor, tokenmetrics.com. We thank you out there for listening, Perp and VeChain. Yes, we're still okay with those, not investment advice. So just answering some quick questions on the way out. Thanks to our sponsor. Thank you to the gentlemen who are kind enough and hardworking enough to share their analysis with you on the stream. Good for you for catching it for free. Set those alerts. Hit that like button. This is Bill Noble from Token Metrics TV. We will see you on Monday.